Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee and today's video is another video in the Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone playlist series. Now, this playlist series, obviously we're up to chapter 43, I think we're up to now. So if you are following along, welcome. But if you're new and this is a new video that you've stumbled across and you don't want to know what is happening midway through this book, I'd highly recommend jumping back to the start of this playlist or maybe going to another video because this playlist series is full of spoilers. So just putting that out there, spoiler, 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 as we start to talk about the next chapter in this amazing series. I also want to say thank you to those who have hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please consider doing so. It definitely helps the channel grow. Now, today's first chapter I want to talk about was chapter 43, and it did continue on a little bit in the sequence of events that was happening in our last video. It's set at the Ridge, and it's really the start of it. We're talking about how much of a day out Sundays really are now on the Ridge because everyone goes to the meeting house. They spend their day there and, you know, they go to Captain Cunningham's service and then they'll go to Roger's service and then people will even stick around to go to Rachel's friends' meetings. Now, it really is a lot of information about, you know, each different sermon and different meeting and all that sort of stuff. And it's really goes into like detail about how much of a day out it is and how people love it. They love going there and then they will go and stand in certain areas in between each service, and Claire goes along and she makes sort of like a mobile clinic that sort of pops up in between the services. It really does demonstrate throughout this chapter how much of a day out it is. I just can't emphasize that enough. Happy day out every Sunday. So if you remember from the last video, we were talking about how the whole guns thing, we're going to need guns, we're going to need them, and Bree's sort of going to go off and, you know, the travel arrangements for guns. Well, on one particular Sunday, Jamie stands up at the end of Captain Cunningham's service after asking him very politely if he could speak, and pretty much announces he's about to start a militia. Now, he does this not only at Captain Cunningham's service, but also at Roger's. He's very much not just, you know, this is a one-sided sort of thing. We're going to talk to these people only. He goes throughout the whole day. Now, everyone's happy Sunday outing it puts everyone on eggshells. I mean, obviously, Jamie, he's very diplomatic. He's very much, you know, everybody's safe and well here and you can believe what you want here on the Ridge, but my law is my law and this is sort of what I'm doing and what is happening. Everyone's happy Sunday was a bit... I mean, look, obviously it has to be done. We know what's coming, but happy Sunday was ruined for a lot of people. And it's pretty clear throughout the chapter that, you know, there's tension brewing now amongst the Ridge residents because people are like, oh yeah, okay, well, they're those people that he's talking about. That are they? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the tension is starting to rise, and it really scares me. I don't want battles to be at the Ridge. I want that to stay as their safe place. At the same time, I would love for this entire series to end back in Scotland because, to me, I just want it to end in Scotland. I want them to be happy in Scotland, even though their home is now here on the Ridge. I guess it's so hard. And because I am Australian, I'm not physically connected. Like, I know a lot of Americans love that Jamie and Claire are in America. And I know a lot of, like, the UK guys are like, well, yeah, no, come home to Scotland. I, over here in little Australia, Jamie and Claire are not getting on a boat and finding Australia. That would be amazing. But for me personally, the connection is I'd love to see them back in Scotland. I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, fingers crossed, you never know. But I just don't think so, but fingers crossed. Now, chapter 44 is actually set in Savannah, and it is now late August. Now, we know when we go back to Savannah, we're all about William and Lord John Grey. So at this point, William is still living in the area with Lord John Grey in Savannah. And he does on occasion stay at Lord John Grey's house when he does luncheons or things. I didn't really understand how they put this into it, but he does on occasion stay at Lord John Grey's house. So that I found absolutely lovely, because it means, you know, that it's slowly starting to mend. There might not be a massive sort of jump. This might be a progressive thing. I'm now starting to feel like that it's not just going to be a William has forgiven Lord John Grey and we're back. I think we're not even going to probably touch on it anymore. I think he's just going to sort of slip back into his normal roles and just sort of have this little internal quarrel maybe with William. I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but I am appreciative that he is starting to become more like back to William and Lord John. I hope that makes sense. I just want him back there. Happiness, you know, I mean, I'm all about happiness this month with this book, but I really just, yeah, I liked that it's, you know, him staying at Lord John Grey's house. That's a big step. That's a very big step. Then later on, he is invited out for lunch, and it's during this lunch that you just know every time there's a lunch, I think to myself, oh, okay, here we go. There's going to be some sort of drama. And it is. So William is there and he's feeling very out of sorts, because we know now he's a civilian and a lot of the people at this luncheon were soldiers or in the army still. But during the luncheon, that's when we learned that it was actually Bannister Tarleton who received the original letter in regards to Ben's death. Now, this sort of plays on William and he's like, well, why? Why was he given the letter? How did he get it? What happened here? I think we're slowly going to get into this storyline a bit more too, with the fact that, you know, Ben is either out there somewhere or he's, well, I mean, he could be dead. I don't know what I feel about this. I understand this is like a filler sort of storyline in a way, but I'm a little bit sort of, come on, is Ben alive or dead? I'm not invested in it very much. I don't know. For me, Ben is a nobody, which is probably really harsh, but it's like, I don't care if he's dead or alive, but whatever he's doing better be important for it to have such an impact on our storylines, if that makes sense. But another little bit of information that young William learnt was that it was Lord John Grey who was in charge of Ardsmuir Prison. Now, I thought he knew this. I thought he knew that, you know, Lord John Grey was in charge of the prison and that's, you know, how, but obviously not, because he was very shocked and he didn't react in any way. It was just, okay, take that on board. But you could tell it had rattled him a little bit, so I'm a little bit, that's going to definitely get thrown back into Lord John Grey's face at some point by William. I'm sure he'll come in a rage of fire and be all like, you didn't tell me that's how you met Jamie. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But that's going to cause some tension for Lord John Grey that William's only just found out. Jumping into chapter 45, now we're still at this luncheon, and I forgot to mention earlier that Lord John Grey and Hal are both at this luncheon as well. Now, Lord John Grey is obviously being his dashing, charming self, doing the rounds, talking to many different people, but it's then that he notices Percy walking in. Now, Percy is his ex-lover, and there's a lot of tension here as well. Now, in true Lord John Grey style, though, he doesn't cause a scene. There's no confrontation. He simply gets up and walks away. He walks out of the situation, but Percy follows him outside, and it's here that Percy reveals the code name Buttercup, which Lord John Grey has now realised that Percy has learnt. And I'm not sure here if this was meant to be their personal code name as well, or if, I mean, I know this was Lord John Grey's, like, not private, but like his, in-service code name. I don't know if Percy Jackson was meant to know it, and he's just said it to rile him up, or if it's like, okay, now Percy also knows the code name and is about to try and blackmail him. I really didn't understand that, but like I said, I'm not good on the Lord John Grey storylines in regards to his military and anything that happened in the novellas. And every time I have a little bit of information that I'm a bit blurry and I'm like, I bet you that was in the novellas. I bet you that was in those books that I didn't read properly. And I really am starting to beat myself up about that. So as soon as this book's finished, we're going to do a whole series about the Lord John Grey books. I'm going to do them exactly like this book here, because there are so many of us that haven't read them. And I'm going to go through them because every time I read something, like I said, every single time I read something and I'm a bit fuzzy, I think, that book, I bet you it's in that book. I bet you I'm not understanding it. But we'll learn. We will all learn. But no doubt somebody here knows, so please fill me in. Buttercup. Did Percy know this was his code name? Like, please, comments down below. Help me. Now, ultimately, Percy does want something from Lord John Grey. I'm not sure what it is yet because Lord John Grey excused himself from this entire situation. He pretty much turned on his heels and walked away from Percy, leaving him standing there. So we still don't know what exactly Percy wants from Lord John Grey, but I have no doubt that he's going to pop up again in the future. He's that character that just keeps buzzing around Lord John Grey. Every time something is sort of happening, he just buzzes in and then causes a little bit of a stir for Lord John and buzzes off away. So I have no doubt we'll see him again very soon. Something I actually forgot to mention back from chapter 45 was that Agapantha, I think that's her name. Her name's so weird, by the way. Has embroidered a vest or a suit, has embroidered something, a waistcoat, I think they're calling it, for William, covered in bugs or beetles. You know, really pretty delicate beetles that are all intricately coloured and matching up with the surrounds. It's a whole thing. It's meant to be very, very pretty. And it does become a talking point at the luncheons and things like that. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I forgot about it until we come to this next chapter where she makes a pretty big appearance. Now, chapter 46, and I keep forgetting to put the titles of the chapters in, so I'm so sorry, but it was called Dawn's Early Light. So in this chapter, William goes back to Lord John Grey's house, and this is where he bumps into Amarantha. Now, I don't know if I have previously called her Agapantha or Amarantha. Her name is just so annoying for me. I can never remember it. Amarantha or Agapantha. It's doing my head in. Put it in the comments below. I need like some sort of memory jog. Like, you know how you say like, if I want to spell bananas, for example, I will sing the Gwen Stefani song like Bananas. I need something to trigger her name for me so that I stop, because I know I've called her both actually. Now thinking about it, I think I just called her Agapantha. Amarantha. She's in this chapter, as I said, and and William bumps into her when he's at Lord John's house. Now, during their conversations, she does tell William that she has overheard him now saying to people that he wants to renounce his titles. Trigger warnings started to pop up and red flags started to pop up in my brain as soon as she started talking about this subject. I thought, here we go. Who are you really? That this is going to come into play here. Now, she suggests to William that he could possibly marry her and renounce his title to their firstborn son. She had it all planned out, by the way. This wasn't just a whirlwind sort of mark or comment. She had an entire plan in her head, and she told it all to William. She was like, okay, so if we have a daughter, I'll go away and have the daughter, and then when I come back, you can say, you know, that we got together then after the daughter, and the daughter's not yours. And it's just, she had an entire plan. This woman has put up so many red flags. I actually really liked her at the start, and now I'm like, you are a con artist. You have absolutely done something to Ben. You have 100% sort of, something has happened here. Something's not adding up. She's not going to be the sweet innocent girl that is just being looked after by Lord John Grey. You know, she's ready. She's ready to put her claws into William and take his titles, and I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I could be totally wrong, and she's just looking for the, you know, the best for her children, of course, but at this current moment, she wouldn't be really, like, in need of much. She has Lord John Grey and Hal both sort of looking after her. So, I don't know. There was just that, I don't like her now. She definitely has put up red flags. Now, chapter 47, and we are still with Lord John Grey and Hal and William sort of thing. We're in this area. Now, I loved this chapter because in the opening sort of scenes, we find out that Lord John Grey has gone and put a crab on Hal's bedside table. I found this absolutely hilarious because undoubtedly their little brother sort of rivalry growing up would have been hilarious. And knowing that Lord John Grey is such a poised, controlled man, to go and put a crab on his bedside table, I actually laughed out loud when I read that. So I was I was just like, that's the best. That's the best sort of, don't need to fight, don't need to say anything, just put a crab there. Wake up to the smell of crab on your bedside table. I loved it. But okay, so into more of the chapter. They're having discussions and Hal wants to know how Percy is still alive. How did he survive? Did Lord John Grey know that he survived? Everything Percy related, Hal wants to know. And this doesn't bode well with Lord John Grey. He's in no mood to talk about Percy. He doesn't want to discuss him in any way, shape, or form. And luckily enough for Lord John Grey, William arrives in the nick of time to end all Percy conversations. Now, William wants to know how he is going to find and how he can find the Tarleton fella, Bannister Tarleton. Now, he knows this is he's now found his new lead. That's where he's going to go. He's going to go find him and ask about the letter that he received in regards to Ben's death. Now, Hal is pretty much straight on the bat of saying, well, hang on, you're not a soldier, you're just a civilian. Calm it down a little bit. Don't go sort of gun-ho at this fella. He also tells William in very, very, extreme secrecy that Sir Henry is heading to take over Charleston. Now, he does make William swear that he will not say anything because this was information that Hal learned at the luncheon yesterday. And although multiple people did tell Hal about it, he's trying to keep himself under check. He's not leaking the information any further than the 12 people that have already leaked it to him. In a roundabout way, this was trying to deter William, I think, a little bit, maybe, from going and seeking out Tarleton in such a hot-headed manner, maybe. I'm not really sure. But William makes it pretty clear, well, as you just said, I'm currently not a soldier, and therefore you're not my commanding officer, and I can do what I please. I mean, William is clearly on bloodhound streak. He's aiming for Tarleton. Obviously he knows something because he received the letter first, apparently. So that's going to be very interesting. I know I've said I'm not really interested in the Ben storyline, but I would like to know if foul play has come into it. And now with Agapantha or Amarantha, whatever her name is, she is definitely, she has sent up too many red flags for me, but her sending up the red flags has intrigued me more into the storyline and has made me think I want to know if I'm correct about her. I want to know if she's a con artist. I want to know if she's done something to harm Ben because, I don't know. I want to know how her connection is going to be, and I want to know if I've picked up on the correct sort of storyline with her. But I could be completely wrong. She could be a completely lovely character and I have totally written her off with her one little comment. But I guess we'll just see what happens in the next couple of chapters, maybe. So that is all the chapters I am covering in today's video. Again, I really want to thank those who have hit that subscribe button and have been sharing the videos around in different Facebook groups. Thank you so much. That means the absolute world to me. I can't thank you enough. Every now and then I'll see one of my videos pop up in a Outlander Facebook group because somebody has shared it and oh, my heart melts. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That definitely helps the channel grow. I will be back very shortly for the next chapter or the next group of chapters review, and I hope you all have a great week. Happy Valentine's Day too if you're still, this might be on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was yesterday for us here, so it might pop up today still during some of you guys' Valentine's Day. So I hope you've had a great Valentine's Day, ate lots of chocolate, smelt lots of flowers, and read lots of Outlander. Have a great day. Bye.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.